Disney Star Wars has been suffering a couple of L's for the past few years since the release of The Last Jedi, but now we may be seeing some light at the end of the tunnel with The Mandalorian scoring big with critics and the audience alike. Now, we all know about the divisive nature that was The Last Jedi, but it looks like The Mandalorian is doing its bit to bridge that gap between those who love Star Wars and those who love Star Wars and really hate The Last Jedi. So, if we look right here, we have the average audience score of 94%, and surprisingly not far behind 91% from the critics. This is after the first episode dropped yesterday with the launch of the new Disney Plus service. Some hiccups. Take a look at the other video that I have about Disney Plus failing, actually crashing first day. But according to, look at that. Let's look at some of the critics' consensus there. Though its character building leaves something to be desired, Chapter 1 is a visual feast with enough sense of adventure to inspire hope that the Force may be strong with The Mandalorian. And that's what I'm hearing a lot of. There's a lot of hope. They're saying that The Mandalorian has the potential to be something really, really special in the Star Wars universe. Doesn't do the whole Force thing or doesn't go deep into that's the Skywalker mythology. It is a standalone entity inside of the Star Wars universe, and I think that that was a really, really smart idea for them to do. This is a really smart avenue. This was the right show to launch this new streaming service, and the right people behind it to make it happen. You see Dave Filoni right here. It was directed by him. His directorial debut. This is written by Jon Favreau. You know Jon Favreau, Iron Man, Jungle Book, the new god-awful Lion King that came out. We all got a bad one, buddy. That was yours. Okay, let's take a look at some of these right here. Sam Adams, he says 39 minutes of mediocre Star Wars. So Sam, you are, I don't know, I don't even know you. With respect to the Melanie McFarland, with respect to the Mandalorian itself, Jon Favreau and his fellow writers get the 39-minute launch off to a decent start, in a large part by sticking to the Lucasfilm checklist. Well, you know what? She's sort of saying this in a disparaging way, the Lucasfilm checklist. But the truth of the matter is that the Lucasfilm checklist is, first off, it doesn't really exist, but if it did exist, it is something that has brought a lot of fans to this franchise. It's created something that we have never seen before, a fandom that has expanded and it's increased over generations in a way that you haven't seen up until The Last Jedi. That you haven't seen and most other franchises. So I don't know what she's talking about, but she seems to like it. She gave it one of those tomatoes right there. Not that this detracts from the charm of a series that has started in relatively low-key fashion, but seems certain to leave everyone, not just Star Wars ultra diehards, wanting more. That's high praise. And the reason why it's high praise is because every single show wants you to want more. They want you to leave episode 1 dying to see episode 2. That's what Game of Thrones used to be. Back in the day, you would watch an episode and the next week you're like, I can't wait till next week. The premiere is good enough to keep me watching, forgettable enough that I doubt I'll want to watch this specific episode again. This is very interesting because if you look, they're saying nice things, but then they're really saying some really shitty things at the same time. So, but they're still getting the tomato. You gotta remember something about Rotten Tomatoes, though. Rotten Tomatoes is in fact run by former Disney employees. So you never know. For those who can find it in them to enjoy each Kessel run while it lasts, rather than insisting on 12 parsecs every time, this show's got it where it counts, kid. I have absolutely no idea what this guy is trying to say with that. I might want to go back and read the full review because this makes no goddamn sense to me whatsoever. Isn't exactly the mind-blowing kickoff to Disney Plus that has been built up in everyone's mind since its inception, but it's a great place to start with a huge amount of potential awaiting for the rest of the season. That is the common theme when you look at everybody who's talking about The Mandalorian. It is the potential. I think people out there are dying for some Star Wars action. Like, they are dying for a true live-action Star Wars that feels like Star Wars, that stories resonate to the hardcore Star Wars fans and to the casual viewer. They are looking for things that Star Wars used to be, and Mandalorian seems to have the potential to give them that. See, the fan base is fractured, not because there's a bunch of racist or genocidal or sexist people within the fan base. It's fractured because they have not gotten a Star Wars that they feel they deserved in 2 movies. Because let's face it, The Force Awakens was just a rehash. It was a forgivable rehash of New Hope. And The Last Jedi was a slap in the face all Star Wars fans. The Mandalorian might be able to give them that now. A live action adaptation of inside of the Star Wars that they love. That Star Wars universe that felt so lived in, so real. Like it could be happening right now in a galaxy far, far away. I hope the very best for The Mandalorian. I will probably get a free trial or something like that to check it out. But the problem with Disney, is that they took away the whole binge watching thing. You gotta get the whole. You have to get it for like 3 years now because they're gonna release it one episode at a time, like they do on traditional. So that's whack. Very, very whack. But here you go. Listen, if you guys like the content you've been seeing, scroll up at the top, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to comment below. What do you think about these reviews for The Mandalorian?